I would like to congratulate you on being named the 2022 DC Teacher of the Year. That is an amazing accomplishment, and we are so proud of you and of that accomplishment. It's an honor to have teachers like you educating our students and working and living throughout our communities. So really appreciate you taking the time to meet with me.
No, thank you so much. I'm so excited just to meet with you, Dr. Walker Davis, and I appreciate the invitation. I always love just talking with other educators and people within the education community. So this is definitely an honor.
Great. So as you know, I have a few questions for you and wanted to hop into the first question. So you've spent most of your career teaching in public charter schools across DC. What do you enjoy most about working with students in public charter schools?
Sure. Thank you. First, just the flexibility that comes with teaching at a charter school. I think it's a very unique flexibility and freedom that comes with the charter sector. So not as much red tape, especially when you're really trying to provide those great experiences and resources for my students. And so when I speak with a lot of my other friends who don't work in charter, and I'm doing all of these fun and great events and different things, whether it's in the classroom or even throughout the entire building for the entire school community, oftentimes they'll say, we can never do that at our school. It would take a long time to, contact this person, fill out this form, do all of these things. So this is really just why I've stayed. I've really, really enjoyed how I get to teach within this charter sector.
Oh, that is excellent to hear. As you know, we are unfortunately still in the COVID-19 pandemic, and teachers like you have gone above and beyond to demonstrate their commitment to the success of our students. Can you share a little bit about how you've worked to keep students engaged and excited, particularly at the age that you teach, about schools in the midst of this pandemic? We also had some snow. And repeatedly, we've had quarantine. So just talk to me a little bit about how you've been able to keep them engaged and excited.
Sure. There's been times where it's been a challenge, definitely. But I would say overall, children are very flexible and adaptable, oftentimes far more than adults. So it really, they feed off of, from what I can see, the energy of the adults. So whether it's the teachers, or the school community, and especially even their parents, if we buy into it, whatever it is, and we say, this is going to be great, or this is amazing, even if it's different than what they're used to, they're all right, well, let's try it out. And most times, if you do really figure out, tap into what they enjoy, so incorporate that into whatever is new. So this is a new experience with masks, with social distancing, but now we all have our own set of materials. So they're used to sharing. It's hard not having students at 3, 4, 5 years old share, but now we all have these cool things that we're all creating on our own, independent learning. Ooh, isn't this great? You know what I'm saying? So it's different, certainly, but we're gonna try to make this as fun as possible, and soon it becomes the norm. So even with virtual learning, it took a few months for us to really figure out, like, okay, this is how we're going to make this work. But as we provided resources and supplies to each student, so I would say at least every other month, my assistant and I were dropping off bags of materials, oftentimes either that Friendship had provided, and then we received a lot of materials from Donors Choose, over $16,000 worth throughout the entire time we were doing virtual, right? So now we've created an equitable space where everybody has all of these amazing resources, and they started telling us what they wanted. We want volcanoes. All right, so we ordered volcanoes, so, and then you incorporate that into the objectives, the skills. So now we have these fun volcanoes that, we've done these science experiments, and then the next day, sure, I'm excited and ready to write in my journal. I'm ready to spell out volcano. I'm ready to draw what we saw in that class yesterday. So it really just is about how you create that space and that energy, and they'll follow along. They'll jump right in.
Well, I appreciate that reminder that we as adults are the ones who model, and we are the ones who create that energy and joy. And again, I just thank you for being that example for our students. At the peak of the pandemic, I know you participated on committees that focused on how charters respond to COVID-19. How important was it for teachers to have an active role in that work? And what did you make of or take away from that experience?
Sure, sure. That was really special for me. So, you know, I would finish with my classes, and then a few times throughout the week, I would jump on these committees, which was a big shift from, you know, the classroom setting. And it was just nice to see, you know, of course, to be on these committees with our chief academic officer. So all of these folks at community office, and I was able to see the bigger picture. So not just me in the classroom with the students, I'm seeing all of the different things that everybody is having to consider in order to keep us safe. And it helped me as I communicated with my coworkers on our team meetings in moments of frustration, really helping them understand that everybody is doing their best with something that we've never experienced before. So it was really nice on that end. And then it was also nice just to be a voice, just to have a seat at the table and let them know, because sometimes once you are out of the classroom, even if you've taught for years, the further you are removed from the classroom, you are not as tapped in and in tune with what is really going on in the classroom. So sometimes I did have to jump in and kind of give my perspective, because you might have set up a system that you think is going well. And then I can let you know, actually, it's not going that great. So it was nice. It was nice to be able to put my input and for it to be valued. So it was wonderful. It was wonderful just to be a part of it. And it was wonderful that my voice and input was well received.
Well, certainly applaud you for adding that to the things that you're doing every day, because you're right, like having that firsthand perspective. Certainly applaud you for adding that to the things that you're doing every day, because you're right, like having that firsthand perspective at the table is important. And also applaud the administration of Friendship for creating that space for teacher voice. Before we let you go, Dominique, let's take a look toward the future. As a new generation of teachers begin to fill classrooms and hallways across DC, what's one piece of advice that you would give to someone teaching in the classroom for the first time?
Sure. What I would say, this is me as a creative, as an innovator, I would say this is probably for a new teacher, unpopular opinion, one of the best times to jump into the classroom, because we have never experienced this in education, learning like this. And it is hard. We just talked about with adults, it's kind of hard for us to shift our thinking sometimes. It's hard for us to really understand and perceive this new way of learning. What does it look like? So it's nice to have some fresh eyes. Who haven't been doing, you know, we have in our mind what these best practices are as seasoned teachers. But now here comes someone new with fresh eyes who can kind of say, well, from what I see with how learning is looking like right now, this is probably how we could do this. This might be how the children you know, embrace, you know, this skill or this form of learning. So I think it's nice. I think it's always nice to have some fresh eyes and some fresh energy, you know, folks who may come in with a more optimistic mindset and viewpoint. So it's one of the best times to jump into learning, and you really get to create, and I say this all the time, you get to establish the standard of excellence, especially because we don't have a lot of examples right now, because we're figuring it out as we go.
That is quite a rallying call, and a welcome to our new teachers and folks new to the profession. So really appreciate you being able to lend your perspective and expertise to that. Dominique, I want to thank you for joining us today and sharing your words of wisdom. We are #DC Charter Proud to have teachers like you in our classrooms, providing students with a world-class learning experience. I really look forward to witnessing all of the amazing things that you and your students will accomplish going forward. And really just thank you for your time and your continued commitment to DC students.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate you guys again inviting me just to have a sit down. I love DC charter schools, and I think we always do a great job and lead a lot of the learning, not just, you know, in DC, but nationwide. I think DC charters are doing an excellent job.